Hey everyone, welcome back to BitQuick Academy. This side Anshul Srivastav again. And today we are diving into another important concept in React, which is functional and class-based components. So if you are just starting with React, you must know the understanding between these two types of components as they are essential for writing efficient and clean React code. So let's break down what these two types of components are and how they are different, and why functional components are go-to-go choice in modern React development. So let's get started. So firstly, we will talk about class-based components. See, the class-based components are the primary way of defining components in React. So before introduction of hooks, we used to use this. A class-based component is essentially a JavaScript class that extends the React component class. So I know right now it's a bit difficult for you, so let me quickly take you to the code. So let me share my screen to you. So we are in the our last React application which we created last time. So I'm going to create a new file or a new component here. First of with name. And now I'm going to import this file in my main app.js file. So if I go back to the Chrome, you see that I'm getting the class-based component which I created, right? So now let me explain you the code, what class component based code says. Now notice a few things here. We have a constructor where we initialize the state and a render method, right? So this render method is returning the JSX which is getting displayed on our browser. And this is how we define a class-based component. The state and lifecycle methods like component did mount and component did update are the only available in class-based components. Class components are the way to go when you needed to add state or lifecycle methods to your components. So now let's talk about functional based components, right? So functional based components are simpler and easier to read. Initially, functional components were just plain JavaScript functions that return JSX. So they didn't have state or lifecycle methods. And they didn't have state or lifecycle methods, which makes them pretty limited. But all that changed with React hooks. So here, I will show you now what a functional components look like. So let's create a functional based component. So I've created a file name, which is functional based components. So we'll do the same thing. Firstly, we will import React. And the same thing which I will do now. I will simply call this my functional based component in my app file. It will give you suggestions automatically once you have created the file. So if you see the output, let me reload this. So hello from class-based components and hello from functional-based component, right? So that's how we created our both class-based and functional-based component. So you notice now how much simple this look like as compared to class-based component. And what we do in functional-based component, we use state hooks to handle the state instead of a constructor. So that's all I will teach you in the another video, states and props and custom hooks, everything. And that's it. So we don't need random method here. It's all compact and more readable format. So what are the key differences, right? Let me quickly show you the key differences of functional based and class based component. So you see that functional components has a plain JavaScript. You do not have to, set the state in functional component. Class components, we have the state feature in the component itself. In functional, there is no render function. We are using functional components. In class components, we have a render function which is used to return the elements. Functional components only accept the props as argument. In class components, we have just both props and state also. Functional components are sometimes called statelet components. Class components are sometimes called stateful components. So now we understand the differences why our functional components are the preferred choice in React development. Well, since React 16.8 version, hooks have been introduced, and which makes the functional component just as powerful as class components. So if not more with hooks, you can use state, context, reference, and lifecycle methods all in functional components and all without the need for complex class syntax. This has led to a massive shift in the React community where most developers now favor of functional components. They are simpler, more concise, and often lead to fewer bugs since there is a less room for errors dealing and with this incorrectly in class components. So just to wrap it up, in both class components and functional components, they can do the same job, but functional components with hooks are now the standard because they are easier to read, maintain, and test. So if you're working on React project today, you have always be using functional components. They have become the best practice in modern React development. So yeah, that's it for the today. If you found this video helpful, do not forget to thumbs up or for more React tips, you can let me know in the comments what you have learned about the next or the previous one. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments as well. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.